right. Hope you guys are having a good evening. This is Josh here, and on to my right is Diego Zuniga. We have two different play-in tournament games going on right now. Um, I'm watching the Spurs and the Thunder since Bulls are not playing. In true fashion, Diego is watching the Mavs. Who the Mavs playing tonight, Diego?
Pelicans. They got this. They got those in season courts, but you wouldn't have expected the court to be purple and green for New Orleans. So that's something. Mavs also didn't get to play on their in season tournament court on Friday because there's a manufacturing issue, which is kind of crazy. But enough for the Mavs. What you got?
It's a blue court, if I remember correctly. It's halftime right now, so I'm watching like Kenny, Shaq, and Charles go at it, but unmuted, so I can. I'll check out their sound bites later. But Thunder right now up by 10 against the Spurs, 58-48 game at halftime. Um, Wemby's had some highlights. Really good game so far. Like these are like two exciting teams like you want to check out, and it was just a 5 minute game when I like turned away and then I saw the halftime score. I was like, oh wow, okay, see, like really blew open the game to go up by 10. But um, we were just raving about Wemby the entire time last week. So um, with him on the team, like anything's possible. So again, like taking a look at the quick standings right now, only 9 games, like or 10 games, like most teams have played so far. So really, not a lot you can big like gauge off of. But like you got to be happy about your Mavs, despite losing to the Nuggets. They are tied
Yeah.
with them at the top of the Western Conference at 8-2. I don't think at the start of the season through 10 games, you would have told me that the Mavericks, Timberwolves, Rockets, and Thunder would all be in the top five of the Western Conference. That was probably not on people's list like to start the season.
hmm
I'm a little bit surprised that the Utah Jazz are not up there considering they started really hot last year. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like Warriors and Lakers, 7-8. Like I don't think people would have expected that, but um, just goes to show you it's very early in the season. And on the Eastern Conference side, 76ers really hot, 8-1.
Undefeated.
Celtics right behind them. Pacers having a really good season at 6-4 so far. Um, my Bulls are not doing that great, 4-7, and then with the latest rumors, which we'll talk about later, um, I don't know what to expect. It's very things are like very in flux if you're a Chicago Bulls fan right now.
Yeah. One thing about the Sixers, they haven't lost since they lost the first game, so they are on a heater, and it's a big statement about James Harden. So we'll probably talk about a little bit about that with the James Harden discussion.
Right. All right. With that being said, kind of hinted at it earlier, we are talking about Zach Lavine. Um, just like in our preparation for the podcast today, I did not think we were going to be talking about Zach Lavine getting traded, but now there's increased openness from the Bulls and Lavine about exploring a trade. You already have like a number of teams really interested. Lakers, Heat, 76ers, all interested and Zach Lavine. What do you make of this news? Are you buying into this? And if so, what teams do you feel like are a great fit for what Zach Lavine can bring to the table?
Yeah, I'd say buying into this, honestly, I wouldn't say I was expecting this, but I'm not surprised. I mean, the Bulls sadly have been kind of in this weird spot without Lonzo that they're like, what should we do now? They're not that good of a team, sadly, and it just doesn't feel like anything's working anymore. And so I'm curious to see what'll happen. Uh, the Lakers is an interesting fit just because they don't really have a perimeter player that is a scorer like that. Would really take the edge off of LeBron and AD, but also
You don't
it's
have to do
like,
Reeves like that, man.
but Reeves hasn't been playing well this year. That's the thing, and he just went back on the bench a few games ago, instead of starting. But it's interesting. The Heat, I think they need it. I mean, you flop on the Lillard trade. I mean, flop. Maybe they didn't even want Lillard really in the end, but I mean, to replace Kyle Lowry is a big deal. Kyle Lowry is like 38, 39. He's on his last legs of his career. Now, he's a champion. He's a great player, but the Kyle Lowry we see now is nothing like the Kyle Lowry of old. And that Zach Levine would be like a shot in the arm for them, and they would be a completely different team. And so that's definitely an interesting one. And then the Sixers I wasn't expecting because you have Tyrese Maxey already. what are you doing giving up Tobias Harris, who I think has been producing as a good third candidate for them. So if I'm the Sixers, I'm not changing anything, but maybe they're just seeing what can be done. So that's interesting. I was expecting the Sixers.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say that now with like the 8 game win streak they have going on, but
Yeah.
I think for the ebbs and flows of a season and then what um Embiid really needs, like having a guy next to Maxi like Lavine is gonna create more opportunities for both. So I could see the interest from the 76ers looking at it like, okay, right now we're ahead of the Celtics, but it's by like what, half a game,
Yeah, it's not
even with our
much.
8 game win streak. And the Celtics are always retooling. They're always looking really good. Miami could always make some noise. So just by default of like Levine trying to go to Miami, for the reasons you laid out, if I'm Philadelphia, I'm like, I don't want that to happen.
It's
I
true.
want to only focus on one team. I don't want to have to worry about both the Celtics and the Heat getting better.
Yeah.
Like so, just by nature of that, I'm not surprised by seeing the Sixers on this list. Um, in fact, sometimes I feel like Tyrese Maxey with the ball, like, might be a good thing to explore with him as a point guard, because then like you can just keep Levine out the ball, like allow Maxey to make quick decisions. When in doubt, like dump to Embiid. Embiid works well with other people, like a Zach Levine. I think if
Hmm.
he wouldn't bring some of the drama that I think James Harden has like over the
Oh,
course of
for
the season.
sure.
Yep. So totally get that one. I'm totally feeling the Heat as well. Like, and for the same reasons I talked about Maxey, I feel like Jimmy Butler can also be a point guard because like in crunch times is like situation for the ball. Like he's the one kind of like in the ISO situation or like
Hmm.
running the offense, like controlling the ball. Like he does a lot of stuff that a point guard does from like the wing and shooting guard position. So
Oh
I
yeah.
could definitely see him like handle those point guard responsibilities. Like in a event where like Lowry takes a step back and you miss Gabe Vincent from this past season. So there's a lot that the Heat could like modify to accompany Levine, and it would be a good fit on Miami. Um, one team I would probably um, that's like sneaky, but I
Mhm.
think they will need him is the Sacramento Kings. I think the
Ooh,
Kings with a De'Aaron Fox and a Zach Levine combo would be really,
scary.
really nice. And then you can just tack on a Malik Monk like at the three. Like I feel like sometimes you don't need to play Harrison Barnes that many minutes, and you could just like have Malik Monk there and then like rotate Barnes coming in to give you some
Mhm.
fresh legs. I think that will help them greatly because like
Yeah,
sometimes when I look at how they fare in the playoffs and like how they're struggling this season, I think a guy like Levine can definitely help with the offensive output they want to employ there.
yeah, and I guess another thing is that like defense isn't really big of a deal. I guess like I mean Tyrese and Zach Levine. I'm not saying they're terrible defenders. I mean Maxi's gotten some crazy blocks in this year already because of his just raw athleticism on some Dwayne Wade vibes. And Levine also athletic and also he's gonna hustle, but he's not like clamped down defender. So that's the only thing I would think. Uh, and on the Kings as well. I mean, De'Aaron Fox is a good defender. So it's
I
something
said
to
the
think
Kings
about.
because of also like their pace of play too.
Oh
Like
yeah, they
if
play
you notice from
fast.
the playout, like they made it an emphasis to play fast. And
Hmm.
like if you watch Levine play, like he is really good at like taking it to the hole. And with that
Yeah.
speed on the offense that like Fox can provide, he's just going to open up more lanes for Levine to get into the lane.
I mean,
But like they get there faster because like Lavine is really good at like finding like the small, like tiny cracks
hmm
to get to the paint and finish. I think that goes very unnoticed. So like he prefers to do that. He doesn't prefer to like chuck up fadeaway threes or like jump shots and stuff. He can do that,
hmm
but he rather get to the hole, like finish however he wants. That's kind of his game. So like I think that would fit really well with the Kings.
yeah, no, it's interesting. And I mean, former dunk contest champion with another hyper athletic guard. That's scary. I mean, it's hard to guard De'Aaron Fox alone. So put Levine there, and that's gonna be a different offense in like a nuclear option way.
Right. Any other teams that stand in your mind that I think could
Mm.
benefit from having him? There's a lot of
Teams.
teams that could, but
I mean, yeah. I mean, just depends on what you'd have to give up. I feel like. But no, none really come to mind. No.
I think maybe one more probably is the Jazz. If the
Yeah.
Jazz got him, I think that would help, like with what they're trying to build there on offense. Because you already got Kessler, you got Markkinen, who had a great season last year,
Marketing was nuts last year. Yes.
and Markkinen has experience playing with Lavine, so that would help.
Hmm.
So, and then you already have like Jordan Clarkson there too, like so, like
Yeah. Another
just another
veteran.
guy that will benefit from having a Lavine like take the pressure off. Um,
Yeah.
so
The only thing I want to ask is just like, how old is Levine? Because I keep thinking of Levine. Like, I don't really. He might have been drafted like 2014, 2013, but I don't like if if you asked me right now and you told me how old is Zach Levine, I would not say more than like 20, like 7. But he
I was
might.
gonna guess 28, and he's actually 28, so
That's
right on the
crazy.
money. Yeah,
But like it's like Anthony Davis. Like if someone tells me Anthony Davis is 30 years old, I'm gonna be like, you're lying. That's not true. He's not
right.
30. He can't be 30. Like it feels wrong, and
It
maybe
feels like he
that's
just like got into the league like 3 years
yes,
ago, right? Because like
yes.
I think it's underrated how much time he spent in like
Mhm.
Minnesota before
Or
the
New
trade.
Orleans.
Like,
Oh no, you're talking about Levine. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
No, he
yeah,
was there for a few years. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Time
yeah.
flies.
But I like keep your eyes on this because I don't.
Hmm.
I think the Bulls are just trying to get the most amount of picks possible. I think
Yeah.
realistically, I don't see them like trading this early into the season because we just completed what 10 or 11 games.
Hmm.
Like,
It's
there's
early.
still plenty of time for the Bulls to go on a run and like figure some stuff on offense. Like, we just saw them go wire to wire with the Suns,
Yeah,
and
that
that was
game
a
was
great game.
insane. I will say no one deserved to win that game. Like, it was just grinded out, like
Yeah,
rock fight game. Good game. It was definitely something I'm gonna remember for a while.
yeah. I mean, I just remember the Suns like missing all these shots. Like, Caruso
Yeah.
had really good defense, but like
Hmm.
Suns missed a lot of shots like you wouldn't expect. Like, Grayson
Yeah.
Allen of all like people on that team was like on fire. Like, I wasn't expecting that. Like,
Nurkic missing
Suns had a
layups.
lot of turnovers, and like
Hmm.
the Bulls like just like they'd had spurts like where they couldn't capitalize, and then all of a sudden when it mattered most, they just start like hitting all these clutch shots, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then like it felt like the momentum was going the Bulls' way in that game, and it just didn't work out.
No, yeah, it's definitely interesting. So I feel like it could be a big deadline move. Uh, just kind of at the last second, the Bulls are like,
Right.
we got to do something. Kind of like their 2021 Vucevic trade. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Wait, can't wait to see it. Um, Clippers, I know we both said don't panic on them. Yeah, it looks to be a bad call like right now. They
Hmm.
lose the Grizzlies, who do not
Yeah.
have Ja Morant, by the way. This is their fifth
God,
straight game that they lost. Um, Tyronn Lue is still like maintaining a positive attitude.
you have to. I
Like
mean,
saying he saw some intriguing things, but we got to be better. Like it is like it's clear like things aren't going well on offense right now, despite having like on paper a lot of really talented players like James Harden,
hmm,
Russell Westbrook, even Zubac was like playing nice, like Kawhi Leonard, and then Paul George, but stuff is not working at all
no,
for them.
it definitely isn't. And I mean, I saw one clip of James Harden. Like it was kind of like an Instagram meme where it was like, "I am the system. I am." It was one of the other things he said, something like that. Like he's basically that he's the guy, right? And it was like he does a pick and roll, and then just step back three, like bricks it. PJ Tucker, or no, not PJ Tucker, but someone gets a rebound, passes it right back to him. He shoots another three, bricks it, and it's just like, yeah, you're the guy, huh? But if it's just shooting, like I wouldn't worry about it. But it's just a systematic thing where they just don't really know how to play with each other yet. And in a type of offense where you kind of give everyone a moment of like ISO, I don't think that's gonna work with that many mouths to feed. It's gonna take a while, or you just abandon and do a different offense. So I think that's kind of what they have to think about right now. And it's a lot. I mean, they're really on the clock, as we said last week. So what I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm kind of scared with them. We'll see.
You're panicking too much, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm looking at James Harden, he led the league in assists the past two to
Hmm.
3 years, right? And
Yeah.
he does. We just talked about how well he was doing in the pick and roll with Zubac, right?
Hmm.
So if I feel like if Harden just like lies in on that and like tries to make that a focal point of like how he fits on the team. He's not going to step in like Paul George's shoes or like Kawhi's shoes.
Mhm.
Like so, it's just literally a matter of like I think Harden's trying to fit in rather than be himself, and that's kind of what's going on. And keep in mind, like this happened like towards the beginning of the season. He hasn't had like the training camp of the preseason yet.
It's true.
So, and despite that, he's still averaging double-digit points. He has 5 rebounds and 4 assists. So, like, um, I mean, it's not the double James Harden we know,
Oh
but
no.
like this is still like they're still capable. Like they they fell by 15 like to the Grizzlies, and they came
Yeah.
back and took a lead with like over 3 minutes to go. So they can definitely play. It's just a matter of like, okay, you definitely do not want Leonard to be held scoreless. You want
Oh God,
him
no.
to get as many chances as possible. Like I think it's just a matter of like what Kawhi said, just spend some more games trying to figure out what they look like on offense. Like there's still time to get this like ship righted.
Oh yeah. That's something I also feel a lot of people are just like always worried, and like me, I just did that, but it's just like catastrophizing. That's a big thing. So just trying. I mean, I'm not on the team, so it doesn't really matter if I catastrophize, but they shouldn't. They gotta keep their heads on straight and just keep going and just try their best. And that they can figure it out. And I'm not gonna sit here and say they're cooked and it's over. Clippers, they're just done. No, they can figure it out. But I'm just an anxious guy. I'm just anxious for the Clippers. One of my friends here in Detroit is a Clippers fan. I just think about him whenever I see them. I'm like, I wonder how he's doing.
Just a quick game update. Chet missed a bad three. Like it was well, I wouldn't say it's bad. Like lined up right, hit the rim, back of the rim, fell out.
That's
And
it.
so Chet goes right back to the Spurs and hits a three in the opposite spot. But despite that, OKC is up 16 right now, 66-50.
The Mavs are down. Wait for it. 15 points.
Wait,
And
15? 1-5?
yeah, we're down by
Oh,
15.
oh my goodness.
It's just they're.
Pelicans comeback season?
I don't know, man. They're just killing us on the. They're killing us on the like transition. I mean, it's just hard. Oh,
Yeah, I
boy,
mean, when
pal.
when you get Zion in transition, like anything's gonna
Yeah.
happen, right? And
No, yeah.
the Pelicans are a talented team. Like,
For sure.
let's not forget, like Brandon Ingram's probably the 1A on that offense, despite having Zion, and then they still
Yeah.
have McCollum. They have a lot of good pieces there.
Well, McCollum's out. He had a lung issue. I think he had a ruptured lung or something on his lung. He's not playing.
How long is he out for?
I have no idea. It's at least
Okay,
like a few games, but he,
did this
I
happen
don't
just
think he's in.
recently?
Yeah. I'll look it
Dang,
up.
I don't know how I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
There you
See
go,
injury there.
preparedness right
Whoa.
now.
So, yeah. So
Okay,
he's injury stat. He's out this game for sure.
yeah,
Nice.
it made it seem like just looking it up now, like he was out, like from the
Mm,
Mavericks game, like it happened in the Mavericks game itself, but.
no, it's
No,
been.
it happened like right before tip off, I think, where they rule him out from the injury report.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when he'll be back. Okay, in the next 48 hours he'll be.
Wow, that
Yeah,
quick.
announced Wednesday that collapse rates. Okay, so they just announced that he's progressing in recovery, but appears that the round may not be headed. So he might not be headed for a lengthy absence. So it
Okay.
won't be terrible, but he's not gonna be there for a few games, which is good. I mean, I'm not sure how lungs work besides me using them to
Yeah, I
breathe.
mean, I would think it'd be like weeks. Like I thought this was a
Yeah,
significant injury. Like, especially because you're running up and down the court, like pretty much the whole game. So
yeah,
you need to be well conditioned. But like
yeah.
prayers up for him. Hope he makes a well rested recovery there.
Yeah,
Um,
one shout out for the Pelicans. Jordan Hawkins
uh,
is an absolute dog. We're down by 19. He just hit a crazy corner three. He's been shooting the lights out. Jordan Hawkins from UConn from that
wow.
national championship team last year. He is a guy. Keep your eye on him. He's cooking.
They even have Trey Murphy too. Like it's almost
Oh,
unfair how many
Trey
good
Murphy's
shooters
out for
they
the
have on there.
season.
Oh
It's
my
a
goodness.
Herb
I am
Jones.
not in touch. Okay, Pelicans fans, I'm sorry. I'm not in touch with any of your players at all.
It's okay. It's
But
Pelicans.
in a vacuum where you're playing on NBA 2K and you
True.
have no injuries, this is a really good team.
No, I mean it's a perfect team to play around Zion. I mean, you just have him be a bull in the china shop, and if he gets the ball out anywhere, That's a problem. 3-point
All right.
shooters. It's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
just checking out Murphy right now. He's actually going to come back in like 10 to 12 weeks from
Oh, that's good.
September, actually.
Okay.
So there
I thought
there
it was
could
out,
be a chance
out for
where
the
he's going to
season.
play. I think it was like a meniscus tear rather than an
Yeah,
ACL. So
it was a big knee thing. So yeah,
yeah,
good thing
that like
he'll
he
come
still
back.
has some time to get that right, but he could be back after the All Star break, realistically, like as far as production. All right, enough of a tangent. Let's go into talk about Tyrese Maxey because he's
Dog.
absolutely balling out for the 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
He's making he's making that trade look way worth it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for that team. Talk to me about what you saw from his game and what you're impressed by.
Yeah, I'd say I'm just impressed by how he's playing. I mean, I've heard he's been training with Drew Hanlon, who's been trainer for both Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid. So he got a
Very
bit
good
of a
shooting
plug up
coach.
there. Yeah, and so he's learned a step back that is just almost unstoppable. I saw one of those. Just the type of distance he can cover is limitless, and even he didn't even need that already. He is a hyper quick guard that can just pop right by you for a layup. And not only is he quick, what I've noticed in other games this year as well is he's strong. He's going up into guys, into big men, into center, 7-footers, and he's laying it up through them. And that's a big thing for a like 6'2", 6'3", at maybe even 6'1" guard. It's gonna help his game, and I can't see if he keeps playing like this or even a little worse that he isn't an all-star this year. He is balling out. Happy for
I'd
him.
argue he's like a top 10 player in the NBA. Like
Yeah.
so far in the season, I know. Okay, it's 10 games in, um, and like Embiid is still playing at an MVP level,
Mhm.
but like he's also playing on the defensive end. Like I think,
Yeah.
like especially against Buddy Hield and like Drew Holiday, like those are key moments where like you could see the explosiveness on that end of the field as well, and
Mhm.
the court, not field, but like Maxey's been like really really incredible. Like I always thought like he's kind of like if you think about Tony Pollard on the Cowboys, like about from last year having very explosive runs like when he gets
Uh-huh.
like his chances. That kind of reminds me of like Maxey when they had Harden and
Mhm.
Embiid. Like he always wouldn't get like the most touches like with the basketball, but like when he got them, like
He
he could
showed
just
out.
explode off for like 20, 30 games on like very efficient shooting. So like
Mhm.
now that he has more opportunities, he's showing like, oh, he's not going to get fatigued by that. He's actually going to still produce and produce like incredibly well. So
Yeah.
like yeah, and what makes this even more impressive is they don't have any bench production at all. So like they've had to almost like rely on the Maxi to carry the load for them.
And even less now, Kelly Oubre getting hit by a car, which is the craziest Twitter notification to get, like, on a Saturday night hanging with my friends.
That
It's
was
just like, "Oh,
awful, dude.
guys, Kelly Oubre got hit by a car." Like, who and the worst thing is someone on Twitter literally said, like, "Kelly Oubre, you suck, like, you should get hit by a car before it happened." And that's
No.
crazy. Like, that's wild. So I mean, it said he's gonna come back, and he had like minor injuries. The biggest one was like a broken rib. So hoping him a speedy recovery, but that is just a wild thing to happen. So hoping he gets back, but yeah, they definitely need some help from the bench. I mean, Nick Batum and PJ Tucker definitely gonna help. So that's something good for
Underrated
them.
defenders. But I think the most important thing to take away out of this is like financially the low cap hit right now
Hmm.
like puts the 76ers in a position to get like a Lavine or get
Hmm.
like another star um like out there in the market that's disgruntled like after like
Yeah.
30, 40 games. That's what makes this really like beneficial for the 76ers because like yes, like Tyreek is playing out of his mind. This is just the first 10 games. Like as like teams are getting more film on like, oh, what does Maxi look like with a bigger role? How do we game plan against that? Like he's probably gonna get a lot more defensive attention than right now.
Hmm.
Um, and that's gonna necessitate the need for another wing defender to just take the load off of him a little bit. I'm not ready to say that I'm willing to give like Maxi um 20 or 30 possessions throughout a game where it's just like him working ISO yet.
Hmm.
I'm not ready to call him that type of player yet. But I think he can do it in spurts. Like he can do enough where like Embiid doesn't feel like he has to post up every time and get it on his own. Like
Yeah.
sometimes like Embiid can catch his breath a little bit and let Maxey go to work and just focus on like the other aspects of the big man role that he's assigned. So
Yeah.
um regardless, 76ers in a really good spot right now. They have a lot
Hmm.
of positive momentum going with 8 straight wins. See if they continue that trend.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes for them.
All right. I know you're really excited to talk about your boy Luca. I know you've done some research on the true shooting percentage, like clarifying some misconceptions and what true percentage actually means. So I'm gonna let you take it away for this one.
All
Educate
right.
me and educate our listeners on how we can look at some of the deep data and like really like add some context to it and understand like how Luca is truly playing so far.
Yeah. So after the Mavs absolutely clobbered the Clippers, part of their kind of 5 game slide, 40. So Luca had, let's see, I have the stats here: 44 points on 17 of 21 shots, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, and 6 of 9 from deep. Those are some crazy shots. Now you can already think like, oh, like a lot of people always say like, oh, it took you 30 shots to get 30 points. That's not efficient. And then you say, oh, 44 points on 21 shots total is amazing. And that's kind of what true shooting percentage is. It's a formula that really isn't that complex. It just takes the number of points over the field goals attempted plus free throws attempted. Now that's like the most basic concept, but there's a few like multipliers and such that make it so that it kind of turns into a percentage. Okay, like in front instead of just field goals plus free throws attempted, free throws has a multiplier of 0.475 or 0.44 depending on where you're who's doing the stat for you, and that sort of instead of taking into account exactly how many free throws that player took, that's like an average like not abundancy but average like frequency of free throws in a player's game, and so that's how that's taken into account, and the points are actually halved to then make it scalable into a percentage. So that so then once you hear like when I first heard true shooting percentage, I thought, oh, and they're like, oh, this guy's shooting 70% true shooting percentage. What does that mean? Like I know that 70 is great, and like what Luca had 96 is through the roof amazing. But basically, what it is just points over how many shots are shot. And obviously, the higher your percentage is, the more efficient you are. And like a way to rationalize it is just more points with less shots is good, right? That is efficiency for you. And so that was something I kind of deep dove for myself on Saturday because I've heard this term thrown around, and I really wanted to know what it means. And Luca is playing on that level of like he's taking hard shots, but he's the player on the team to take those hard shots, and he can make them. Uh, he's incredibly shifty, can hit a mid range, can hit a step back three at any time, and he's almost impossible to guard when he's in the paint. And not only are you scared of his shooting, but you're scared of the dimes he can hit and just what he can do with the ball. I also did a little bit of research on effective field goal percentage, kind of a similar thing, but then it takes into account 3 pointers as well instead of free throws. So it's just field goals and free throws combined instead of no field goals and 3 pointers in one
Right,
instead of
instead
free
of
throws.
free throws. Right.
Yeah, so that's just something to think about when you see that online. You see true shooting percentage, just think number of points over shots taken, and that'll give you a quick baseline. I actually found this like the article explaining on Wolfram Alpha, so that made me feel like really confident on what I was
Wow.
researching. So that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So, uh
Yeah. I think my only feedback on that is like I am not surprised that Luca's shooting percentage is like really high by true metrics because like to your point, if you're looking at like other guys that are top five in that, like we're looking at Corey Kispert, John Collins, like Ochai Agbaji,
Baji, yeah.
and then Zach Collins. I'm pretty sure I butchered like two or three of them. But a majority of them are like big guys that are constantly roaming around the paint, like getting short hookups or like lobs and stuff like that.
Mm,
And Luca's doing this from like all over the court. Like I
yeah.
think the point is like Luca's still an offensive star and he can get to whatever spot he wants to get to at his own pace. I think my only problem with watching Luca and a lot of like common basketball nerds and like watchers, like the problem is like the pace of play,
Yeah.
because if you're going against like the Kings, the Warriors, like even the Nuggets sometimes, like the pace of play is significantly different. And like against those teams, it's not a good fit for the Mavericks. And
Mhm.
like that's why you see them make a move like Kyrie Irving, because like he can get
Yeah.
a
Speed stuff up.
basket whenever he wants at whatever pace he wants. He can change that pace of play. Whereas Luca on his own, like if you're giving it in the Luca centric offense, that's the thing that worries you. So then it's like, okay, like the metrics I'm looking at with Luca is like, how quick is his decision making with passes? Like, how quickly does he get to his shot? Because like in the playoffs, that's when it matters. When like defenses are like designed to guard you, like play
Mhm.
around you with like double teams and like other tricks and changing zones and things like that. Like that's when that pace of play metric matters to me. So like I'm interested to see like how that looks over the course of the season as like the Mavericks get all these new pieces and
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving more ingratiated in the offense.
Yeah, and I'd agree. I don't love the kind of Harden-esque, like heliocentric. Luca hold the ball all the time and then kind of figure it out from there. But he can make those shots, and when he does, it is impossible to stop. So I mean, I kind of hope every game is like that. Obviously, that's not how it works, but we'll see. Luca can do that, and we'll see how he keeps going throughout the season. If he can, he could win an MVP. He could take this team far. And if doesn't play at that level, we might be back to where we were last year. But I like this team, and we'll see where we go.
It might be bad karma because I was just reading his stats at the half. Like, so he had 6 turnovers, 2 for 12,
Hmm.
7 points. Not his night tonight, but he still got time to bounce it around. But like, don't let that fool you. Like, Luca can score 40 a night anytime he wants to.
Yep.
And don't get worried about him.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, hopefully, the Mavs have been a second half, fourth quarter team, so we'll see if we can flip the script.
Yeah, like back on the OKC Spurs side of it, like it's turning into a complete blowout. Like
Really
OKC is like completely taking control of this game. Chet's sitting on the bench too. They
interesting.
are up 80-59 on the Spurs right now, and
Yeah,
third quarter hasn't even ended yet.
yeah. I think the Thunder are obviously an older team. I mean, no, who do you have to guard Shy? Like that's just hard as is with a good defender. And they're just old. There's an older team, more experience overall. So
Right.
I think
Plus,
that's a
like there's not one guy you can key on because like Giddy can go off. Like
hmm,
Dort even being
he can
like a
hit
primary
threes.
defender, like
Yeah.
he can score on his own as well. Like look at that pass to Giddy. That was just insane. They had a transition bucket.
Yeah.
Shy is just like he's not even trying. He's just kind of like boot that up to Giddy,
Hmm.
hit a layup to make it a 25-point lead. But one last topic I wanted to cover today was Brandon Miller. Kind of a
Hmm.
slow start. It's a kind of like your classic rookie talk. And I think this is the perfect subject for us to dive into because last week we talked about Anthony Edwards, like
Hmm.
really turning the corner. And if you remember from Anthony Edwards' rookie season, the first half and the second half were completely different. Like after the first half of his rookie season, you had people writing him off, like calling him a bust already, which is just wild.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Brandon Miller is a perfect perfect segue to show that okay, just because he doesn't play well game one or for like this first stretch of a first couple games doesn't mean he can get can't get better. Like entering like Sunday's game to New York,
Hmm.
before he had the ankle sprain,
Oh
um,
yeah.
he shot 26.5% from three, 41.9% overall. Um, and his shooting profile was not very attacking based. There was
Hmm.
not enough free throws. Like his free throw rate was really low. And then like relatively few chances at the rim. So like um, we talked about true shooting percentage and like possession rates. He has 10.9 PER on 50.9 50.9 true shooting percentage. So,
Yeah.
um, but like going into this next game, he had 11 points, 5 or 6 shooting in just 10 minutes,
Wow.
which is insane because it shows you the potential he has to like just like be a microwave. Like that was what he was known for coming out of college, like one of the best scorers like
Hmm.
in college basketball. And when I when I look at Miller. Like um he doesn't have like standout defense, but
Yeah.
like he already knows how to navigate like NBA screens and like forcing forcing guys like Brunson who like uses screens like almost every single time he touches the ball, and like
Hmm.
forcing him into bad decisions like pull up threes and things of that nature. So, um, like looking at Miller, I think he's only going to get better, like week by week. And the good thing is like when the Hornets have everybody healthy, he doesn't have to be the one A to that offense. Like it can be LaMelo Ball, and they can feed off each other and build chemistry that way. So um, they got a bright future. The Hornets do, and then Brandon Miller. I expect him to get steadily better as the season progresses.
Yeah. I mean, it's always hard that transition from the NBA to or from college to the NBA, but he has all the tools. I mean, he already has a good shot coming in now. Now, obviously, we didn't see that with the stats you were saying. But he has, and not only does he have that shooting, he has that ability. He's also has length at his position. I think he plays small forward, or he can even play power forward. But with that length, that's exactly what you need in this NBA's, and that's what helps him on defense as well. He's able to just guard, take up more space, and yeah, I think I haven't watched much of him. I kind of wanted to watch him on Sunday, but he's an interesting prospect, and I'm excited to see what he does. I mean, another kind of KD-ish mold player where long, not super athletic, but he's got a shot coming in. So we'll see what he does. May compare him a little bit to Bi in the future. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, like just another player to like s- to showcase what his defense was. I'm just reading about him right now.
Hmm.
Um, he did really well. I didn't watch him against the Wizards. He did really well against Poole
Oh
apparently.
yeah.
And this is just where like he's not picking up um like unnecessary fouls. He's defending cuts. Um like he's actually getting his hands on the ball even as he gets fouled and like
Hmm.
picking up like Jordan Poole half court, things like that. Like that stuff you notice where the length and the size is like really
Hmm.
taken into account on the court. And like he knows how to use his body as a defender. So like while his offense is like still picking up steam, like he's still impactful enough on the defensive end where I get confidence like he's gonna get confident enough to shoot the ball a lot better.
Yeah, that's key. Just if your shot's not falling, you could do other things on the court and stay in a positive mindset. If he can do that, he'll be able to get better and really improve. May take a corner like Ant did this year eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Um, just a quick side note, like who are your contenders right now? Like looking at the season. Like if you
Looking at
have
this
like three teams, who you picking?
I mean, Nuggets, Celtics. I like just because they're they're just easy, such an easy spread offense. Porzingis is really fitting well with them, and I mean, after all the hype, all the Tyrese, I gotta pick the Sixers too. That's an easy top three. I'm a
Yeah.
bit, it's a bit, I don't know, fair weather. They're all doing well, but I mean, the Nuggets lost to the Rockets, but still.
Yeah, that was wild. I did not expect to see that. I was just looking at the power rankings, and the Rockets are steadily climbing up. Like we were just talking about a couple games, like off air. Like in the past week, they're beating the Kings, who are not doing as well to start out the season, but they're like capable.
Hmm.
Lakers like was a
Yeah,
blowout game that they won, and then now beating the Nuggets in a thriller. That's impressive. Like
yeah,
Nuggets, like, and I look at Sagoon, like just quick snap outs, and like he he knows how to score. Like he's a very good scorer. Like on Jokic, like I was looking at some of his baskets. He's that kind of like out Jokicing Jokic.
yeah,
I didn't think that was possible, but like we saw it, and I'm just like, okay, cool. Like taking the elbow, like patient, like jumpers, like that was very Jokic-esque. Like the hook shot, like that you think is blockable, but like somehow he just gets it
it's
in.
not. Yeah,
Like I was just like, oh my goodness, we're looking at mirror images of the same player. He was just somebody that stood out to me. Like, well, be watching some of the highlights there.
yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I think big thing for the Rockets is now they have actual adults in the room. I mean, last year
Right,
it was kind of Jalen Green, just messing around and such. And I mean, you had Kevin Porter Jr. still on that team. I don't think he's with the team anymore because he made stupid mistakes in his life.
right.
But yeah, I think Fred VanVleet. I mean, Dylan Brooks, I guess a little bit. He's a veteran, but kind of. not the best, I guess, but he's been shooting well. So I think they got what they needed. And Daniel Tyson's not on the team. Jock Landell, I guess, but they have veterans now, and that's definitely a big thing for the young stars.
Yeah, I look at them and the thing they're missing is kind of like, oh my goodness, I saw James Harden and Eric Gordon on their roster right now, and I'm like, okay, that can't be up to date. Like
Yeah,
I get it, they got Jabari Smith, they got
yeah,
Jalen Green, and they got some veterans mixed in there.
mhm,
Um, I'm still like I'm waiting to see who's gonna emerge as that go-to guy, and maybe that is Jalen Green, like
yeah,
this season. But I don't know. I look at the landscape of the NBA now, and I think the Rockets are still like a year or two away from like really having that
beating.
franchise guy
Hmm.
that like you're saying, okay, take me there, tote the rock, like every other possession.
Yeah.
I'm confident in you type of guy. Um, if they get that guy, watch out because like the rest of the roster looks really nice.
Yeah. This could be an interesting team in the future, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, cool. I'll probably check out
Yeah.
and not watch the rest of the Spurs and the Suns, but um, I'll also let you leave early to to cry out of your misery if the Mavericks aren't able to come back here.
Yeah, it's gonna
But
be a sad night if we don't win, but it's okay.
hey, at least you're not where the Bulls are right now.
That's
Mavericks are
true.
sitting pretty with their third loss. Bulls are just trying to get past like um, 3 to 4 wins here. But thank you guys for watching this episode. I know it's a quickie, but you can follow us on Instagram at amon.a.mission. We'll have a lot more highlights. Diego got it right this time. There we go.
Take a second.
Towards the middle there. But we'll have a lot more highlights analysis like next next week or 2 weeks from now. We're still deciding how I want to
Mhm.
handle the Thanksgiving break. We're recording this on Tuesday, November 14th. Um, really excited to see how the rest of this in-season tournament um, turns out. Maybe they'll do a better job on the courts and making sure
Yeah.
it's like colorful and tasteful with the team. But the OKC one looks pretty nice. I gotta say that.
What is it? Is it
It's like a
orange?
mix of like blue. It's the majority of it's like light blue, so like it's very
Okay.
OKC themed, and then
Yeah.
they got like a mix of black in there. So nice looking court. I enjoy it. I'm just still trying to get used to the in season tournament course, like because completely different than hardwood. Um,
Yeah. I don't think they're using any hardwood at all anymore. It's not like it's like different. It's just painted now. Like it's not hardwood or something like that. That's what they're saying the first
yeah.
night. Very interesting.
Yep. All right. Take it easy, Diego. Thank you for hopping on. Thank you
Yeah.
guys for
Thanks.
listening. Really appreciate you tuning in. Let us know what you think. Add any comments or likes or what we could do better. And we'll see you next week, I think, or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
We'll figure
Sounds
it out.
good.
We'll see you
See
guys
you
later.
later.